Hey y'all, if you're new, I'm Laura, aka Kiki, and welcome to my element. Lots of content is going to be coming on the way, so make sure you click that subscribe button so that you can be notified every time that I do come out with a new video. But for now, we got juicy Q&A Sunday. Let's get it started. Question number 1. Thoughts on sunscreen? Do you use it? I like to keep my soul and my skin barrier clear of harsh chemicals. Sunscreen is all of that. I also don't like to have a barrier in between the sun, which is our life source, and then my soul and everything internal. I am aware of all of the damage that sun can do to the skin, premature wrinkles, all of that. I personally have very good skin, natural melanin protection. I'm at my palest point right now, but in the summer times, I'm out there taking in all of that great sun energy. Sun is life. Me and the sun are like this in the summertime. During the winters in Canada, I roll down the window in my car and just poke my head out just to get a little more sun. I like to get at least 15 minutes on my bare forearm or onto my face or the back of the leg. I do believe that it does also have very harsh effects to the environment. Our oceans, people load on that sunscreen and then dive into the oceans and seas, the lakes, and it pollutes our water. There's a lot of toxic effects from sunscreen in general. To each their own. If you want to protect your skin, go for it, but there are also other options that you can look at, like zinc, absolute amazing protectant. You can buy little zinc tubes, you can buy zinc powders, and then my other favorite, which is so simple, just coconut oil. It actually has 5 SPF, which is not a lot. It at least does something, which you wouldn't think of for an oil, right? Next question, any tips to gaining weight on a plant-based diet? This was something that I definitely struggled with, just being a lighter body, higher metabolism. When I switched to plant-based and pretty damn strictly like cutting out all the BS that a lot of vegans these days eat. Just because it's a vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. I always say that. I struggled with finding what the right diet was for me to keep on all the weight. I worked so hard to gain in the gym, either building muscle mass, following a very balanced diet that increased some weight. The biggest thing that helped me gain weight on a plant-based diet, add more plantain, add more sweet potatoes, add more grains like quinoas and buckwheats and oats, wild rices, and then of course you want to get in all of your healthy fats. So avocados are great for that, and then also using healthy oils like avocado oil, hemp seed oil, grapeseed oil, and then coconut oil. Next question, and this actually connects to the first question, natural toothpaste and natural sunscreen brands you recommend. So for natural toothpaste, Tom's or also Schmidt's. I feel like those two, they don't have too much of a weird aftertaste and they get the job done absolutely amazing without obviously all that fluoride, which we do not want in our bodies. For natural sunscreens, one brand that I highly recommend is Attitude. They have a stick of like a zinc cream that you just apply. You can throw it in your little bag and take it with you everywhere you go. I just like to use that underneath my eyes on the high points of my face. It blends in beautifully with your skin and it does a great job at protecting. How do you deal with stress and anxiety? A while ago, I was dealing with a big deal of anxiety. There's a lot of coping habits that we can all kind of get accustomed to. I always say this, but everybody really is so different. And what might work for me as a coping mechanism might not work for you. So some things that would really help me with anxiety especially was just breathing. You're so caught up in all of your anxious thoughts and feelings, forget a lot of times to breathe. And that's what makes us even more anxious, taking that 1 second to do couple deep breaths, maybe like a minute of breathing, and it would ground you right back into who you are. That calm state that you kind of left for a second. Anxiety really does stem all just from the mind. When it comes to dealing with that anxiety, it's about finding the connection through what you can deal with, what you can put your hands on, and that's your physical body. So controlling the breathing rate allows your mind to kind of get back to a calmer, more peaceful state. I feel like a lot of stress comes from the constant busyness of life. We don't find time for ourselves, and that's when we start getting stressed out.
Okay, we're getting all of this done. Hell, we're barely even getting time to get all of that done.
And yet I don't have time for myself. Something that can really, really help a lot of people with stress is time management. You know, time is infinite in my eyes. For the day-to-day that we do live in this society, it's important that you manage your time in a way that you don't feel overwhelmed, that you do have your 5, 10, 15 minutes to do your practices that bring you back to you. So find time to do what you love. For some people that's praying, dribbling a basketball, going for a run. So when we can implement those things in our life, then there's more purpose to who we are. Then all the anxious and stressful thoughts, they cease. All the anxiety, it comes from all the little things that we deal with. All these things are just conditioned things that we do every day, and we miss out on our whole true purpose. And of course, life is crazy, so things might be thrown at you at times, but you just gotta flow with it, you know? We're like rivers, and we can flow downstream continuously. And of course, there's gonna be boulders and rocks and little obstacles in the way, but the way that water flows is it goes around everything. So either way, we're gonna get through it. We're still gonna go down our route, even if it means that we hit a couple turns and curves. Another anxiety coping mechanism is yoga. When you can control your physical body and you can allow it to release in certain ways, then we can release all the physical stress from our minds. When you became vegan, was your transition straight into veganism, or did you cut out things over time? When I started going plant-based, it was kind of like a roller coaster actually. I had to kind of trial and error through a lot of different types of diets. I was vegetarian for about 3 years. I became anemic because as a vegetarian, I wasn't eating the right things. I wasn't educating myself on what I should be putting in my body so that I can get all of my minerals and vitamins in. Back when I did rely on the doctors told me to start eating red meat again so that I could get more iron in my body. I never was a fan of red meat, so I did not go back to red meat, but I did go back to things like chicken, turkey, all types of fish. I probably spent maybe a year back on that type of diet and nothing worked. And then after that, I went pescatarian for about maybe half a year. Once I started self-educating myself more, that's when I just went completely plant-based. And I not only went plant-based, I went cold turkey, plant-based, alkaline. That's when all of my healing took place, and that was the best choice that I have ever made. It was absolutely transformational. It almost gets me emotional knowing how much weight I shed off, and not weight like physical weight, but weight off of all the stress that I was putting on my body with what I was eating. So knowing now that, you know, how I'm treating myself and taking care of my internal environment. All in all, I did not know that this was where I was gonna end up at, to be completely plant-based. The best that you could ever feel is simply through electrifying foods. And all that is electrical comes straight from the ground. Anything that doesn't come from the ground, that is processed, man-made, whatever, loses all of its actual electricity. Our cells are electric. We need electric things inside so that our cells can work at their optimal level. Okay, last question. Favorite healthy comfort foods? For me, comfort doesn't really come through food, and I can definitely say that just also because of the type of person I am. I'm very affectionate, so most of the comfort that I do seek will never be food. It's gonna be some physical touch, human connection, talking, anything like that. That's where I find my comfort. A lot of the time we look at comfort foods as being heavy foods, like burgers and fries and whatever else is comforting, pizzas apparently. I kind of view it backwards. The most comforting foods for me are the most nutritious. When I do need comfort, that means that I'm at a low energetic state. I need to work on my energetic levels and bring it up. And what does that? Are energetic electric foods. I completely disconnected my emotions from food. Our emotions should not determine what we eat. Comfort foods are typically the worst types of foods for our bodies. Just because we're feeling a certain type of way doesn't mean that we treat ourselves worse. We need comfort. We need to electrify ourselves, bring in all those nutrients, all those goodies into your soul. That's what soul food is to me. I like the perspective that I built on it, and I like the way that I live, and I never feel like I'm restricting myself from anything. But if you need ideas of healthy comfort foods, a nice little curry, chickpea bowl, lots of warming flavors, it is very positive pranic. Then you could also do maybe like a vegan pizza, which I will actually post a recipe of. Let me know if you guys want a video of that. Another very comforting ingredient to me is potatoes. Something maybe like a potato gratin or mashed potatoes, sweet potato fries. Something about sweet potato fries just hits different. Maybe that's my ultimate comfort food right there. I don't know if everyone's on the same page. Let me know if you prefer regular fries or sweet potato fries. Thank you guys for tuning in to another Q&A Sunday. And of course, I have more content coming out for you guys. I will see you in my next little video. Wholeness, balance, and vibrations always.